Hi everyone, it's John Mitchell. In this video, we need to look at the impact that change can have on the internal environment. So thinking back all those weeks and months ago about the internal environment, where we looked at management structure, employees, management, all those kinds of things, then that's what we need to look at now and say that, right, if a change is going to be implemented at an organisation, how does that actually impact or alter the things in the internal environment? So that's what this video is about, and I'm going to look at 4 key areas that you're more than welcome to use more than these, but these are 4 key areas that I'm going to focus on in this video. So when an organisation responds to the forces for change and decides to alter or implement some kind of change, it's going to impact the internal environment, and so these are some of the major impacts it can have. So it can impact and alter the organisational structure, can change the corporate culture or make changes to the corporate culture. There can be alterations in human resource management as well as alterations in operations management and the operations processes. So we'll look at each one of those individually. So let's look at structure first. Structural changes often occur due to forces for whatever reason from the dynamic environments, and in more recent years these have been some of the changes that have occurred in lots of organisations. So if you think back to management structures, we spoke a lot about flattening the structure rather than having these really high, tall hierarchical structures. So middle management, getting rid of lots of middle management positions and increasing the span of control and those types of things we spoke about. And what that results is in a flatter structure. So let's say, for example, an organisation has had some poor financial performance. They've reviewed their structure and reviewed their process, and they've gone, well, we've probably got too many middle managers, the communication isn't flowing the way we want it to, so therefore what we're going to do is create a flatter structure by removing and abolishing some of those frontline and middle management positions. So obviously that pressure can then force change in the management structure. Outsourcing has been another really big one, so outsourcing many of the non-core projects, and some organisations even outsourcing some of their core projects to contractors, can help keep costs to a minimum and creates greater flexibility for the organisation. So whether that be outsourcing just to another organisation or outsourcing overseas to reduce costs, those types of things have been happening. So that's an alteration that will alter. Obviously, they would reduce some of the those departments or functions that they have in their particular business, which is causing a restructure. And then work teams, again linked with sort of flatter structures, but teamwork allows organisations to be more flexible and responsive and helps keep motivation high and generate more creativity. So there's some of the impacts that change can have on the organisational structure. Next, we're going to look at corporate culture. We've spoken about how change in previous videos, how change should be embedded into the corporate culture if it wants to be a success. Kotter's last theory, institutionalised, where we're trying to embed that culture into the long-term success, trying to embed that change, into the culture to really make it a long-term success. And an example here, we look at telecom. So what we know as Telstra today was once called Telecom, and it was the only telecommunications company in Australia. Therefore, it had a monopoly on all services. Now, was that good for customer service? They didn't really have to worry about competition. So, all of a sudden, through deregulation, other organisations were able to come into Australia. Other competing organisations were able to come into Australia. Optus was one of the first ones to come in, and now we've just got lots and lots of different telecommunication services. But what that's done is it's altered the culture of the organisation, because no longer have they got a monopoly where there's no one trying to take business away from them. All of a sudden now, lots of businesses are improving their customer service that they have, improving the products that they have. So their culture had to change and become more customer focused. So now one of their main focuses at Telstra is to really improve customer service and the customer experience, I suppose. So that's been an alteration in culture because of the change of moving, privatising and going on the stock exchange, but also deregulation. Human resource management, so change can alter human resource management. So changes are implemented, it's going to alter different elements of the human resource function. So employees may need to be trained differently, performance appraisals may need to be altered, recruitment and selection, so you're actually recruiting and selecting may need to be changed, which means your job descriptions, job specifications and all your selection criteria may need to be changed. So I've got the example there, Fairfax Media, that due to people reading news articles more digitally, they're moving away from print newspaper, and so what they did, they closed their printing presses and moving more to digital media. Now what that does is obviously the employees need to be trained on how to actually implement that. Performance appraisals, now that they used to be writing 1 article a day, now they have to write 2 articles a day, so that performance appraisals may be based around social shares and those kinds of things. Recruitment and selection also could be that the actual, as I said, the job descriptions and job specifications may have changed, that the type of people that are being recruited and selected, because they're not just writing print media journalists now, they're writing articles more regularly and on different variety of topics, that may have changed their recruitment and selection processes. Those that are able to embrace digital media and are on social media and all those kinds of things. Operations, again, so another function that can be altered is the operations. So trying to reduce production costs and improving productivity is obviously going to result in the way operations functions. So some possible changes, and these are just a few examples, but it might be a new layout, whether that be a manufacturing layout or an office layout, whatever it may be. It may be an emphasis on quality if they've decided to change what their overall objective is. They're implementing more quality processes. That obviously changes the operations and how the different processes in quality control and quality assurance and all those types of things. Might be that some organisations are moving to smaller, more flexible facilities, and also changes in production schedules, and anything you can think of in operations that's really altering. Changes can actually have an impact on operations. So just to recap, changes have a significant impact on the internal environment, and some of the ones that that we went through include structure, culture, human resource management, and alterations to operations. So for questions, activities, and more on this video, then come on over to teachingbubble.com.